Hello, my name is Cole with All Makes Automotive here in Sacramento. And we are doing a fuel pump test on a 2006 Pontiac Montana with the 3.5 V6 in it. So what's going on, what the customer is complaining about is they are complaining about hard starting while cold, and what I have diagnosed is that it's a fuel pump or fuel pressure issue. Basically, when the car gets warm, the fuel in the fuel rails heats up, and some of it, I'm sure, turns to vapor, which increases the fuel pressure inside the fuel rails. So if you watch, instead of going down, this is actually going to go up. And with a weak fuel pump, it would cause it to not start in the morning because of weak fuel pressure, and then start regularly while it's hot. It went up 5 pounds earlier just by sitting engine off with a warm motor, and it is going up very slightly. It jumped up 1 pound already. Interesting. So that tells me that the fuel pressure regulator, which is actually an integral part of the fuel rail, is still good. But the fuel pump is what's bad. See, we went up almost 2 pounds there. So this is still holding our pressure where it needs to be. But the fuel pump isn't getting it up. And then I called GM, and because this is a kind of a different animal, it does not have an external fuel pressure regulator, or one that you can take off that's integral to the vehicle. This also does not have a fuel filter. Well, it does have a fuel filter, but it is located on the fuel pump, which is inside the tank. So this also was throwing 2 different codes. It was throwing a map sensor and an O2 sensor code, and I was hoping that it would solve the P0171 issue, which is the lean fuel. But the only thing that it solved was the map sensor code and the O2 sensor code. So I did clear those codes, and I had cleared them previously to replacing those items to make sure that that I wasn't replacing them for nothing. So it threw them again. My barometric pressure, the old map sensor was still good, except for the baro reading. So my barometric pressure was off by, I think it's the values from like 8 to 16, and it was like 4. So changed that, it went back up to like 14.7. And the O2 sensor, the upstream, located on the back of the engine here, above the catalytic converter, bank 1 sensor 1, was bad. It was not reading like it was supposed to. And see, we went up 3 pounds already. So that's why that this starts while it's hot, because the heat from the motor is actually building up the fuel pressure inside the rails. So, and then watch, once it started, it'll drop down to 30. actually 28. And GM said 65. I would be happy between 50 and 60, honestly. But it's just not happening. We're at 28 running. And then when I throttle it, I drop down to 20. So it's dropping, 6 pounds just on the throttle. So, brand new spark plug wires, brand new plugs, new air filter, clean the master airflow sensor, all of it just to find out that we're having fuel pressure issues. So it did need a tune-up anyways. The spark plugs, the original spark plugs that were in it were worn. The plug wires, I mean, they were starting to get a little bit of corrosion in the end cap itself. So. And clean the throttle body. What else did I do? Back brakes, that's not part of this issue. And vacuum lines, checked all the vacuum lines, checked the vacuum line leaks. That was my first go-to. Checked the intake manifold for leaks. And finally, at the end of the day, I found this issue. So it could be maybe the filter on the pump is clogged. Since this does not have a filter that is on the outside of the fuel tank itself. So anybody else with the P0171 on a 2006 Pontiac Montana with a 3.5 V6, I think it's the LX9 engine. Check your fuel pressure, make sure that it's up to par, instead of wasting 5 hours finding out what the problem is, So here's a good go-to. Remember, 2006 Pontiac Montana with the P0171 issue and no other coverage. So, alright, thank you very much. Have a good day.